Okay, so we'll start from yesterday where we left. Screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think this lecture will be most probably last lecture, which will be more theoretical. From next lecture, we'll have to calculate the complexity of algorithms. We'll see how to calculate the complexity of algorithms. Then one topic comes that is an abstract data structure. Okay, so today probably if we'll get time, we'll just touch that point. Okay, but we'll consider array as an abstract data structure. So that point we have. And further we'll have hashing concept. Okay, so a few theoretical points we have initially, then we'll go with some practical approach. In calculating the complexity also, we'll take few examples. Okay, and we'll calculate manually. Okay, in last semester we have seen it comes as n square, it comes as n log n. Okay, so everything we'll just try to see, okay, how that complexity is calculated. Okay, and what is the importance of complexity. Okay, so that is the next bit that we have to consider. Okay, so yesterday we have discussed on these types. Okay, primitive, non-primitive, that is basic data structures that we have, built-in data structure and user-defined data structure, and on the basis of that we'll have a linear data structure and non-linear data structure. Okay, so we have already seen array, linked list. Okay, then stack and queue are the linear data structures. Okay, and tree and graph are non-linear data structures. Okay, so why these are non-linear? Because for each and every item in linear data structure, the condition is that every item should have one predecessor and one successor in that. Okay, and again that should be organized in linear fashion, like you are standing in a queue. Okay, so that will be a linear data structure. Okay, and non-linear data structure means what? It should not be fixed, like have one predecessor and one successor. It may have one predecessor and have multiple successors also. Okay, so like tree, there will be one root. Okay, so it has no predecessors or any in between a leaf also. Okay, so in between tree part also, suppose we have considered this b. Okay, b node over here. Okay, so this b node have one successor, but it has two sorry, one predecessor, but it has two successors. Okay, so this is a non-linear data structure that we have. Okay, so what exactly the difference between linear and non-linear? So that already we have discussed. In linear, every item is related to its previous and next item, but in non-linear, every item is attached with many other items. Okay, it's not fixed. Okay, so in linear, it is arranged in sequential, and in non-linear, it is not arranged in sequence. Okay, data items can be traversed in a single run. Okay, so you have started from one end, you can directly go with normal for loop to the rest of the end. Okay, but in tree and graph, it's not possible. Okay, with the simple for loop. Okay, so you'll start from the root node and you'll directly go without any what we'll say extra logic. You are not able to go to each and every leaf node or each or every item in that. Okay, so that we have. And the examples of linear, we have see array, stack, linked list and queue. Okay, and tree and graph are for non-linear. And with consideration of implementation point of view, linear data structures are most easy than non-linear. Okay, so now the next thing we just touch more few extra types of data structure. Okay, so before that we should see the characteristics of data structure. Okay, so the data structure should be correct. It should possess correctness. Then it should possess the complexity and space. Okay, so these are the three characteristics you can think about. Okay, so data structure implementation should implement its interface correctly. Okay, so when you are writing any data structure, okay, so that should be written in what we'll say correct way. Okay, so that is the one thing that we have to consider while the data structure. Complexity, running time or execution time of the operation of data structure must be as small as possible. Okay, so already we have seen whenever you are writing a code, okay, always in back end of your mind, it should be the process should be gone through. Okay, so whatever we are writing, so it should be done in a less number of lines. Okay, how that running time and execution time it is calculated. Okay, is there any measure how we can calculate running time or execution time? Anyone? How, suppose you have written a program, how you will calculate runtime or execution time? Any guess?
Sir,
My guess?
individual statement हम calculate करेंगे sir. और फिर high में डालेंगे.
Yes, yes, something disturbance, but as you said, it is individual statements. Okay, yes, it's correct. Any other guess how you will calculate the run means how the program complexity, whether it is efficient or not, how you will calculate? Any guess? Other guess? How you say that your program is more efficient than, suppose there is student A and student B, and we are gone through suppose first assignment. Okay, so in first assignment, how you say that my program is better than other? Which parameter will see? Okay, any guess?
Sir, less
Okay, so
number of
it is
loops. Sir,
less number of loops is there. Okay, so yes, so more or less, okay, so it is a number of steps. Okay, because when we consider runtime or execution time, okay, it comes in mind. Okay, so suppose if we run any program in Eclipse, if we run any program in any compiler, it gives us time in seconds. Okay, so this program is compiled in point dot suppose in milliseconds. Okay, 100 milliseconds, 10 milliseconds. Likewise, it gives us time, but it won't. We are not that much differentiate from two programs with the execution time, which is given in milliseconds. Okay, because what happens nowadays, the computation time of your or execution time or computation capacity of your machines are increased a lot. Okay, so it's very difficult to differentiate. Okay, so which program is better than other with respect to that millisecond calculation. Okay, so the complexity in with respect to your time complexity, okay, it's better to calculate on the basis of number of lines of your code or number of lines of your algorithm. Okay, because suppose I have to add the two numbers. Okay, so that addition can be done in multiple ways. Okay, so you declare int a, int b. Okay, so you'll make a is equal to a plus b and you directly print over there. Okay, so likewise there are a number of ways. Okay, so someone can write the addition in 2 lines, someone can write addition in 5 lines, someone can more take more time also. Okay, it depends. Okay, so that otherwise if we consider the swapping of two elements. Okay, so there also. Okay, or if you the good example is that we can say that is a bubble sort. Okay, if you remember bubble sort. Okay, so in bubble sort, in inner for loop, what we are making, okay, if you remember, we are suppose I will just write that once. Okay, if you remember. Okay, so how the bubble sort is written? Okay, roughly I will just write. Okay, so we are going to write for, so how it is written, I is equal to 0. Okay, I less than n and I plus plus. Okay, so that is written, and inside that what we are writing for j is equal to what?
j is equal to 0. J I plus.
We are writing I.
Yes, sir.
We
Yes,
can
sir.
write 0 also.
Yes,
We
sir.
can write j is less than
J is
n and j plus plus. Okay,
yes,
so that is the one way which you are writing. Okay, so this complexity will come as n square, because outer loop will run n times, inner loop will run for n times, so the complexity will be n square. Okay, but one thing we can do here, so I will make n minus I. Yes.
yes, sir.
Okay, so that we can make n minus I over here. Okay, again, that will be the thing. Okay, so by this way we are minutely decreasing the complexity which is required. Okay, so it is not n square, so it will be less than n square. Yes, yes or no?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes.
Yes,
Less than
sir.
n
Okay.
square.
Okay, again one thing, you will have an advanced bubble sort. Okay, so can you anybody tell me what is advanced bubble sort? Have you seen this? Yes or no? There is something which is called as an advanced bubble sort. Yes. Yes, no, just reply, then we'll go.
No, sir.
Okay.
No,
So
sir.
suppose one scenario I will take. Okay, so why this is this we are discussing? Okay, because we have to know, okay, where we differs. Okay, where the programmer differs. Okay, from a programmer A, how it differs from programmer B. Okay, so and where we have to improve. Okay, so suppose my program is like this. I have given an input. Suppose 23. Okay, 45, 45, 78, then 21, suppose. Okay, then 89, 99, 102, then 115. Okay, so this is my input. Okay, so after one iteration, what will happen? Okay, so suppose after few iterations, okay, so 1 or 2 iterations we can say, okay, so this will be 21, okay, then 23, 45, 87, 89, 99, 102, and 115. So basically, if we require, so how many passes we require for this? Complete this bubble sort, how many passes we require? We have numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 passes are needed, yes or no?
8 passes. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
But suppose these output I will get at suppose pass 2. Pass 2 I will get this output. Okay, so now everything is sorted. Yes. So is there any, okay, so now we are wasting 6 passes unnecessary. Again, the same loop we are running. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Everyone agrees with this. If at the pass 2 my whole array is sorted, okay, so why to go for next upcoming passes for pass number 3 to 6? Why to move to pass number 3 to 6? Okay, so that 3 to 8, sorry. So that we have to save. So anybody tell me how we can save this logically? How we can identify so all elements are sorted? Okay, so in your regular bubble sort. Okay, so I will just till you think I will just write actual bubble sort. Anyone, any guess?
Sir, if traversing through the array, if we if we don't need any thing to swap two numbers, swapping doesn't happen. So that means the array is sorted, and then we will terminate.
Yes, correct. Okay, that is the correct option. That is optimized bubble sort, you can say. So what I will do, okay, I will take one flag over here. Okay, and I will make flag as 1. Okay, so anywhere if I found this array of j is less than array of j plus 1. Okay, so in anywhere in the sequence. Okay, so suppose like this array of j is over here. So that is 21 is less than 87. So we need a swap. Okay, but for this whole sorted means array. Okay, will it go inside this swapping stage?
No, sir.
Okay, if everything is sorted, it will not go inside the swapping stage. Okay, so after this end of this inside j loop, okay, if we found the flag is 0, okay, I will write if this flag is equal to 0, then we'll break. Okay, will directly come out of this for loop. Okay, so it will save us from executing the steps 3 to 8, getting how the logic to be improvised, so that will again minimize the number of steps which are required. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have not gone through the whole program, but this is to just tell you what we need to achieve. सगळ्यांना कळालं का हे काय एक्सप्लेन केलंय?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so this we have to achieve. Okay, so why this data structure and why this complexity and all terms comes in mind. Okay, so whenever you present your program to any of the good company HR, okay, so HR will not look for your output. Okay, HR will look for the efficiency of your program. Whenever I am asking about the very good companies when you are approaching, okay, so because the students, okay, where we differ, okay, if you have to differentiate from yourself from any other programmers, okay, so you can differentiate that with by giving this type of what we'll say expertise in your program. Okay, so anywhere it comes in your mind. Okay, so suppose you already gone through the HackerRank, many examples we have. Okay, so suppose if you get a chance, okay, so you'll search for some what we'll say there are internships also provided by Google. I don't exactly remember. Okay, but they are also providing internship. They also have some programming contest like HackerRank. Okay, so if you go through that in efficient number of times, so they will judge on the basis of your program. Okay, I exactly won't remember. Okay, but they will judge on the basis of that. Okay, so if you found some programs like that, so what they will judge the capacity in you. Okay, so how much efficiently the program is written. So it comes under the time complexity. Okay, so that is the second point. So whenever you are writing a data structure, I have taught you about the what we say implementation part. So the data structure also it comes with some implementation part. Okay, so runtime and execution time. So that is the main characteristics we have to focus. And the lastly, we have a space complexity. So space complexity means what? What do you mean by space? This is the time complexity, but what do you mean by space complexity? Space of a program means what? What comes in your mind? Quickly, we have to wind up this in today's lecture. Yes, yes, storage is there. Okay, so storage, the correct thing is storage. Okay, so whenever you are going to write, so space complexity, already we have discussed the example of short int, int and long int. Okay, so likewise you have a space complexity. Okay, so whenever you are dealing with your program, space complexity not matters that much like time complexity. Time complexity is considered much. Okay, it is respect to your space complexity, because we have increased our space a lot, okay, in last few years. Okay, so from your machines were working on very less space, now we have exponentially increase our space like that. Okay, but still it is counted, okay, while considering like that. Okay, so if you are working with array, okay, so unnecessary won't it is not needed to declare array of 100. Okay, so that is not needed. Okay, so that you just remember in your mind. Okay, so whenever you are giving your problem, okay, so whatever the data structure you are going to use, so that should be efficiently used. Okay, so that you know already. Okay, so these are the characteristics we have and need of the data structure, that and applications are getting complex and data rich. There are three common problems application face nowadays. Data search. Okay, so suppose we have an inventory of 1 million items of a store. Okay, if application is to search an item, okay, it has to search item in 1 million items every time. Okay, so that will slow down the search. Okay, so as data grows, the search will become slower. Okay, so the searching is the very, what we'll say, biggest hurdle for developing any of the software. Initially the software works very good. Okay, once you deploy the software to the client, it will work very good. Okay, but as the data is going to increase, so the search speed is going to less. Okay, so you just consider Google search. Okay, so Google search, how much it is efficient. Okay, so once you hit enter, okay, for Google search. Okay, so if we take a look, suppose I have written Google, okay, and I have written data structure only. Okay, so irrespective of that, you'll get the time also. So in how many seconds it have retrieved, it has retrieved these many answers in these many seconds. Okay, so this is the efficiency. Okay, so why Google is popular already, I have told you story also. So the data search is the hurdle which we have. Okay, then processor speed. Okay, processor speed, although being very high nowadays. Okay, so its fall limit of the data grows to billion records. Okay, so once you have a richer record, okay, so your normal processor fails. Okay, so those who are working with some machine learning applications or deep learning applications, of you heard from your colleagues or your friends or your relatives. Okay, so your normal machines won't work that much efficiently for the good applications of machine learning or deep learning. Okay, so that also works over there. Okay, and multiple requests, as thousands of users can search data simultaneously on the web search like Google. We have just seen every even very fast servers will fail. Okay, so all to tackle all these issues. Okay, so to solve above problems, the data should be in organized way. Okay, so there should be some structure which is followed. There should be some approach which is followed, so that will keep the records and data in organized way, so we can efficiently overcome these problems. So there comes a need of data structure. So only knowing the program, only knowing the constructs or syntax of a program is not efficient. Okay, how to write that program very efficiently is very much important. Okay, so that is the need over here. Finally, we'll just go through other types. Okay, so a few types which are there. The one type which is a persistent and ephemeral data structure. Okay, so we can distinguish like that. Okay, so suppose ephemeral means what? A data structure is one for which only one version is available. Okay, so means what? After you have updated any data, so likewise if you have written integer a is equal to 20, okay, and I have written a is equal to 25, so will 20 will be remained as it is? It is overwritten, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Yes.
that is called as an ephemeral. Okay, so few data structure, few previous languages. Okay, so that will make an ephemeral. So any modification will not retain the previous version of the copy. Okay, so that is called as an ephemeral. Okay, so that is lost. Okay, persistent structure is one where the multiple versions of the data available. Okay, so after an update also you'll access the both old version and new version. Okay, so suppose if I added any element to the array, is old version is present? Yes, suppose if I added one element to the array, so still we can access the old version. Okay, so if you added fourth element, but still three elements are there. Okay, so that is what we'll say persistent. Okay, so the new languages which we are working with, so that is imperative languages. So that works with an persistent data structures. Okay, so okay, so I think this statement is incorrect. Okay, so imperative languages like C, C++, Java, so more data structure, so that will work as what we'll say a persistence thing. Okay, so we'll just find out the previous what we'll say uh, data structure also or values also. Specify sequence of operations to execute a purely functional declarative data structures. Okay, so that are functional, so that are persistent. Okay, so solution space provide knowledge required to get there and don't describe that thing. Okay, so we'll have that particular thing. So have you got what is persistent and what is ephemeral? Any doubt in that?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So persistent is that. Okay, ephemeral is that. Okay, so you can, if you are going to preserve the previous version, then it will be called as what we'll say persistent, and no previous version is maintained, so that is called an ephemeral. Okay, so that is this different. Dynamic data structure and static data structure, that you will know very well. Okay, so static data structure, like you are declaring array, so that is static, so it won't grow more in the space. Okay, so the space is fixed over there. And dynamic data structures are that. Okay, so the size will be grown accordingly. Okay, so that is the only difference. Okay, so array you can say where the size is fixed, that is static data structure. And linked list that we are going to look. Okay, so so where we can increase the size runtime. Okay, so that call as a dynamic data structure. Okay, so so you know the shortcoming and advantages of these dynamic things and static shortcomings. Okay. Okay, so this we have. Okay, static memory is allocated at compile time, that is fixed size. Dynamic memory is allocated to the data structure dynamically. So moreover, the new advanced languages like Java and Python, so they won't that much focus on the static allocation. Okay, so every time in Python, always if you are working with Python, so it what we'll say, it works with the dynamic memory allocation. Okay, so there is no need to declare any variable with its size. Okay, so like array we are declaring, there are some provisions where we can give the fixed size, but always when you add new elements, automatically it will increase the size of that particular data structure. Okay, so that we have the static memory allocation. The advantage is that it is fixed, so there will be no problem for adding and removing data items. But this disadvantage, this dynamic memory allocation. Okay, so always okay, so you have to work with that particular thing. So it is possible for the structure to overflow should it executes means allowed limit. Okay, it can also underflow. Okay, so it should become empty. Okay, so that is a disadvantage. Okay, so of that particular data structure. Okay, then again, for disadvantage of static, you know that. Okay, so can be very inefficient if memory of the data. So that same example that we are looking for, if you have only 10 elements and you declare array of 100, so that will be wasted. And if you have either 11 elements and if you declare array of 10, so that is disadvantage. And advantage, the same dynamic, you know. Okay, so static easier to program and dynamic harder to program. Okay, so that we have. Okay, so this bit we have. The next thing, we just look for the operations on the data structure. Okay, so for irrespective of any of the data structure, we have to work with some basic operations. Okay, you just concentrate on this particular subject, because whenever you go for OOP also, there you are going to work with object oriented programming, where you have to work with inheritance and all. Okay, but when you'll go for some more detailed structures of OOP, okay, so where we have to work with some interfaces, so there are a number of things we have. Wait a minute. Okay, sorry. Okay, so these are the few operations that will come across. Okay, so whatever the data structure we have, so we have to create that data structure. Okay, so first creation is there. Once the operation is done, so we have to free the memory, so destroy is there. Okay, so selection, so this operation deals with accessing for the particular location, updating, searching, sorting, splitting. Okay, you have to split into suppose you have created one array or one list, you have to split it into two arrays or two lists. You have to merge two arrays or lists to be merged. Traversing means what? Going through that particular data structure. Okay, so from suppose index wise we are going in array. Okay, so these are the various operations which we have, so that will come across once we are going to look. Okay, so this is about the bit that we have in syllabus. Okay, so where is your syllabus? Okay, so for the first unit, this is the bit that we have in syllabus, so that we have covered. Okay, okay, so we have here. Okay, so the first is types of data structure, and this particular part is covered. Now we'll go with the algorithm. Okay, so now the next task is to come work with algorithms. What is algorithm and all? And this is a very important part, that is analysis of algorithm. So that we're going to cover in tomorrow's lecture. Okay, so this analysis of algorithm, how the algorithm will be efficiently analyzed. Okay, so now algorithm you'll know very well, because we in first year, first semester, we'll have the problem solving and analysis. Okay, so where we have gone through these all basic concepts. Okay, so algorithm means what? It is a sequence of finite instructions. Okay, so it should be clear and meaningful and can be performed with a finite amount of time. So that is an algorithm. Okay, so program is related with the algorithm. Okay, so when you are program something, so that should be first we have to declare, or first we have to what we'll say, write the steps. Okay, that is called as an algorithm. Okay, so it doesn't depends on any input value. It doesn't depends on what we'll say, any program implementations. Okay, so it will be only number of steps that are required. Okay, so that we have to write over here. Okay, so this is the one thing that you may come across. So this is the characteristics of algorithm. Okay, so I have changed actually over here criteria. So this is the characteristics of algorithm. So any algorithm which you are going to write, so that algorithm should possess these 5 characteristics. Okay, the first characteristics of algorithm, you know, that input. Okay, so your algorithm may have input or may not have input. Okay, so there can be a 0 or more inputs of algorithm we have. Okay, so likewise, suppose if you take an example of printing hello world. Okay, so is there any input needed to print hello world?
No, sir.
Okay, so that is, and for all other examples like addition of 2 numbers, so that will be a output is required. Okay, so sorry, input is required. Okay, output for any of the algorithm, there must be at least one output. Okay, so your algorithm should not have 0 output. Okay, so because the main purpose of the program is to produce something. Okay, so if you are not going to produce anything, so the program is useless. Okay, so every program must have at least one output. Okay, so for hello world also we have output, and rest of all programs we have output. Okay, so whether that output is positive output or negative output, but still it has output. Okay, the next characteristics is definiteness. Okay, so your algorithm, so each instruction should be clear and unambiguous. So what do you mean by definiteness or unambiguous? Can anybody tell? What is definiteness, or what is it? Okay, so whenever you are writing your program, okay, so that should be what we'll say, main thing that is completed in finite or definite steps. That is one thing. Okay, but that should be unambiguous, or it should be clearly stated. Okay, so suppose if we take an example. Okay, so suppose if you have to sort the elements. Okay, so suppose if you are given a sort the elements. Okay, so it should be an clearly given. Okay, so how we are going to sort that? Okay, so the number of steps which are given. So unambiguous means what? Sometimes it is giving sorted output, and sometimes it is giving unsorted output, so that will not work. Okay, so that should be unambiguous. Again, there should be no 2 flows. Okay, so some programs some problems can have 2 flows. Okay, but only one flow should be given in definite way. Okay, so that will be definiteness should be achieved. Okay, so that is the characteristics we have. The next thing we have a finiteness. Okay, so whenever you are working on an algorithm, so it should terminate in finite number of steps. Okay, whatever the algorithm we have, your program may have infinite working flow. Okay, so like suppose operating system, it's running continuously. Okay, it is not going to halt until you will have some bug or you'll have some error. Okay, so that is an infinitely it is working. Okay, but whenever you are writing a algorithm, okay, so that should be completed in a finite number of steps. Okay, so there should not be an infinite way we are going to write. So if we trace out the instruction of an algorithm, then for all cases the algorithm will terminate after the finite number of steps. Okay, so that is the characteristics you must maintain. And effectiveness. Okay, every instruction must be sufficiently basic that it can in principle be carried out by a person using only paper pencil. Okay, it is not enough that each operation be definite, but it must be feasible. Okay, so effectiveness. Okay, so when you are writing a program, so that should be a effectively it should be work. Okay, so these are the what we'll say the basic characteristics of algorithm. Okay, that you should what we'll say keep in mind. Okay, so any doubt in this or anything you want to add over here or ask over here? Hello. Okay, so
No,
these are
sir.
the yes. So these are the basic things that we have. Okay, thank you. So these are the basic things we have. Okay, so that are the characteristics we have. Okay, so something in formal computer science, one distinguishes between an algorithm and program. So you know that program can be what we'll say won't possess this finiteness property. Okay, so like operating system. Okay, so that can be run in infinite number of times also. Okay, so this point I will not going to explain that much in extent. Okay, so that you know very well. Okay, so how to represent the algorithm? So algorithm can be represented by using pseudocode or flowchart. Okay, so you already written this number of times. Okay, so pseudocode means what? What do you mean by pseudocode?
Writing algorithm in our language.
Yes, it's writing algorithm in our language. So that is pseudocode, but that should be something what we'll say near to program. You can say. Okay.
Yes.
So because if you see an algorithm, normal algorithm, you can write like add two numbers. Okay. So in pseudocode, it is more specifically you can write add n1 plus n2, add 1 and n2. Okay. So likewise you just mention. Okay. So basically, firstly we have seen the specifying the problem, how to create a computer software or computer program. The first thing we have to specify the problem. Okay, so for what purpose or what is the motto of your program? So likewise, suppose you have to make an addition of two numbers. Okay, so that is my problem. So the next thing we have to develop a design. So the developing a design, that is the second phase of your program. So that is called as a algorithm. Okay, so for addition of two numbers, I will write some small pseudocode or an algorithm start. Okay, input two numbers as n1 n2. Okay, make an addition of n1 n2, display the result and end. Okay, so likewise we have to develop a design. Next thing we have to implement the design by using some programming language, and again we have to maintain the design. So that is the flow of the software or program which you are going to write. So we are now at the step of developing a design. Okay, so what is an algorithm? So again we have seen the characteristics already. It is specific, unambiguous. Okay, it is a language dependent. So few more characteristics you can have. Okay, but these are the 5 basic things. You will have some like language independent and all. Okay, so that you can be devised. Okay, so again we have seen in first semester itself. So there are developing an approach. So that is a top down approach we can follow. Okay, so we'll have a general approach. So like suppose um, we have a program. Okay, so to what we'll say now we are entered into second year. Okay, so suppose we have to prepare a program. Okay, so in second year itself I have to take the choice of the student. Okay, so the student want to make a career in which subject. Okay, so general approach, the problem is that. Okay, so to take a choices. Okay, so now I will decompose that into, so I will create one program to take choice of Java, choice, then second for choice of Python, and then what we'll say choice of, or we can say again web development, front end developer, back end developer, likewise. Okay, again in front end developer I will take some choices. Okay, so likewise we'll just divide that problem into sub problems. Okay, so that is called as a top down approach. Okay, so from abstract way we are going to make a particular way. That is one approach. Okay, so techniques of laying down pseudocode and flowchart. Okay, so pseudocode, it is a programming like statements. Okay, so pseudocode will have output, input, process, decision, and repetition. Okay, so that already in first semester we have seen each and every assignment with this. So we'll just directly go with the pseudocode. Okay, decision making pseudocode will have, repetition pseudocode will have. Okay, this PPT I will share you. Already you have worked on this. Okay, so suppose this is an example of, yes. Okay, so this is an example of one what we'll say pseudocode for fast food ordering. Okay, so you have to approach to counter. If want burger, then order burger. If want fries, then order fries. If want drink, then order drink, and we have to pay a cashier. Okay, so that will have. Then pseudocode fast food, then approach counter. So that again in detail way, output order burger, input order burger. If order burger is equal to yes, this is in detail way, something written in detail way we have. Okay, so that you can have. Okay, so this is the normal pseudocode we have. This you can have something in detail way. Okay, so that you can write. Same thing will have ATM machine pseudocode. Okay, so for ATM you can have approach ATM. You will repeat this step. Okay, select option, make withdrawal, deposit, show balance, quit. Okay, and input option. Okay, so that will be the thing we have. And this is in detail. The if option is equal to deposit, then output enter the amount, input amount, balance is equal to like this. Okay, so this is an example. Okay, so better way always you represent your algorithm in this detailed way. Okay, so that we have. Okay, so for pseudocode statement we have a summary, that is what is the statement and purpose. We have output, that is display information, input, gate, process, we have to perform some actions, decision, and we have a repetition. Okay, so that will be having. Okay, so these are the basic elements of the algorithm that we are working with. Okay, so any doubt in this? For pseudocode
No,
and
sir.
flowchart already you know, so I have not added that here. Okay, so flowchart is one of the part. Okay, so now this is the next section that we are going to. किती पर्यंत lecture है? Hello, what is the time of this lecture?
11:25 पर्यंत.
11:15 असेल I think. Okay, 11:15.
15 पर्यंत दुसरं लेक्चर बंद झालं.
Yes, yes. Okay, so we'll just complete this task. Okay, so now this is one thing interesting and very important concept, which is called as an abstract data types. Okay, so now we are worked with data types. Initially we have seen data structures, we have seen algorithms. Okay, so now this is one thing that is called as an abstract data types. Okay, and in this unit only we are going to look for the abstract data type of your array data structure. Okay, so that we have. So basically, can you tell me what do you mean by abstract word? Okay, there are two words actually, data types, and one word is abstract. So what do you mean by abstract? Meaning, I'm just asking you meaning. Okay, synonym, meaning, what you will tell. What do you mean by abstract means? So already yes, anyone?
Sir, something which doesn't exist in reality.
Yes, yes, something which doesn't exist. Okay, so that is one answer. Okay, that is near to answer. Again, any other answer for abstract word?
Virtual.
Yes, virtual is again one thing. Any more relevant? Both are correct. Okay, अजून काही थोडंसं डिटेल मध्ये. What do you mean by abstract?
Or summary of something.
Yes, summary of something. That is also that nearby. Yes, all three will be there, which are nearby to the abstract. Okay, so basically, what do you mean by abstract? Okay, so basically, abstract means what? Okay, so suppose we are working with already. We have discussed in last lecture also. Printf statement is abstract statement. Okay, because printf, what we know, printf is written in double quote. We are just giving the string which we have to print. Okay, but in backend, what printf will execute, we don't know. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
In roughly, I am saying that it's not actually printf is also the implementation way, but roughly we won't know exactly how that printf is executed in backend. Okay, so similarly, abstraction means what? Hiding the implementation details from its what we'll say details of that particular data structure, or you can say abstraction allows for the purpose. Okay, so for focusing on logical properties instead of implementation properties. Okay, so suppose we have an array. Okay, so array we have a function. Which are the different functions that we can work on array? So one is sort. Yes, sort we can apply an array with different methods. We can apply it. What is sort? Okay, so again, one is search element. Okay, can you tell more what we'll say details for this? We can search on array. If I have given we have given an array. Okay, so the first operation we can perform, we can search the element in an array. Second, sort the element, delete the element in an array. Again, the next, add element in an array. You can find out the length of the array. Yes, these are the different procedures that we have with this particular what we'll say array. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now suppose we'll consider sort operation. So sort, how you perform sort? You can perform by bubble sort. You can perform by yes, bubble sort. You can perform. You can make selection. You can make insertion. You can make quick merge. There are n number of sorts we have. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But now we can abstract means what? We are just writing sort. Okay, rest of the thing, the backend will be hidden. Means what? The implementation details will be hidden. Okay, backend we won't know whether it is sort by bubble sort, whether it is sort by what we'll say quick sort or any other sort. Okay, what we'll say it will be hidden from the what we'll say user. Okay, so and that particular thing, abstraction means what? We are going to focus on what. We are not going to focus on how. Getting exactly what do you mean by abstract?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have that abstraction. We are not going to focus on how for sorting, whether it is performed by quick sort, whether it is performed by merge sort, selection sort, insertion. We don't know. Okay, so that is called an abstraction. And abstraction is very, very important property while considering your what we'll say class in data structure. Sorry, your OOP also. Okay, so that abstraction we have to achieve. Okay, so the task of the programmer is to achieve abstraction basically. Okay, so there are two types of abstraction basically. There is one data abstraction and second is procedural abstraction. Okay, so what is data abstraction? Okay, so it is separation of logical properties of the data from details how the data is represented in memory. Okay, so data abstraction means what? We are not going to focus on how it is organized in memory. Okay, so whether that is means what? Suppose we are writing some data structure for suppose array or suppose linked list. Okay, so or queue. Okay, so suppose linked list, yesterday if you remember that example of deletion I had given to you, so that linked list, whether it backend it is implemented with array, okay, whether it is implemented with linked list means actual that linked list approach, or queue also we can consider. Queue can be implemented with array, queue can be implemented with linked list, queue can be implemented with file. Okay, but we are only interested in queue. Okay, so we are hiding the data how it is stored in a memory. That is a data abstraction. Yes.
Yes, sir.
And the next thing, that is a procedural abstraction. Procedural abstraction, just we have seen the example of sorting. Okay, so separation of logical properties of action from its implementation. I have to work with sort, whether it may be any sort that we are going to use. Okay, so that is an abstraction. An abstract data type means what? It is one in which the set of operations is defined at a formal and logical level only. Okay, without being restricted by the operation details. Okay, you can write the operation details in detail. Okay, but the abstraction means what? We are separating that thing. Okay, when you work with C++, when it comes with the class, okay, so class is an abstract representation of your program. Okay, so it is abstract way it is giving us. Okay, so suppose I will take another example. Okay, suppose for one car, if we consider one car, real time, if we consider one car. Okay, so suppose in that car it has separate parts. Okay, so what we'll say, otherwise we'll take some another example. Car also it is good with considering servicing and all the things. Okay, so suppose now you are at your division. Okay, so I can what we'll say, as an individual person, everyone has some different identity. Okay, so suppose you have a roll number, but I can't call you as with a roll number like 21, 25. I have to remember it his or her name. Okay, so that person will have his or her name, have an address, okay, have his own hobby. Okay, so there are a number of things associated with that particular thing. Okay, so abstraction means what? Okay, so suppose we have to work on collecting of some data. Okay, or if you have to work some operations like that. Okay, so we are going to hide the implementation details. Okay, how we are going to collect the data? Okay, suppose I have to collect the data. Okay, so suppose who are interested in machine learning. Okay, so there are n number of approaches. Okay, so suppose I will tell your CR. Okay, so just take the data from your side. Okay, so he will send them WhatsApp message. Okay, so just who are interested in machine learning, they will send me their what we will say opinion. Okay, so that is one approach. one student can just call each and everyone. He will take one notebook and he will write the details. Okay, so one student will create a Google form. Okay, he will fill that particular form and take the details. Okay, so but the thing is that what operation we have to perform? We have to perform get machine learning interested student data. Getting, so we are not interested how it is to be done. Okay, we are interested in what to be done. I think that is called as an abstraction. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So it is very important concept actually. Okay, because whenever I will have one slide on that, we'll discuss that in detail. Okay, so suppose for stack, queue, linked list, tree, and graphs. Okay, so these are the data structures which we are going to learn in this semester. Okay, so now for stack there are few operations. Okay, so stack you just consider as a bucket that we have seen. Okay, so I have to push something into that stack. Okay, so now that bucket I have to push something. Well, आपण insert म्हणतो basically, but insert in stack terminology it is considered push. Delete in stack terminology is called as pop. Okay, but which element will be deleted or pop from stack?
First.
That is topmost element. First means what? That is topmost element. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so like just consider stack of plates or stack of books. Okay, so which element will remove first? So that will be topmost element. Okay, and another operation with the stack, that is top. Okay, top means what? We are getting the element which is at the top position. Okay, so that we have stack. So now what is the benefit of this abstract representation of stack? Because stack is also there in Java, stack is also there in Python, stack is also there in C++. Okay, so everywhere stack is there. Okay, so now for any programmer, he know what stack operation will be: push, pop, and top. Yes, getting there are three operations. Okay, so whenever you go in Java, okay, you'll just declare the stack data structure. Okay, and you just perform push, pop, and top. Okay, so that are the operations. Okay, so in backend Java is it has its own choice whether it will work with the linked list for implementing the stack. Okay, whether it will work with some heap data structure, whether it will work with array data structure. Okay, it's choice of the implementation of the program. Okay, you need not have to worry about that. Getting, so you just be interested in using that functionalities of the data structure. Yes, clear to everyone? So across the language it is different. Okay, but the terminology remains same. Okay, so that is abstract way we are declaring the things we have. Okay, so that is called as an ADT. Okay, so basically what we have to do, we want a data specification method that has the following features. Okay, abstraction, that is abstract, it should help the programmer organize the data by focusing on its logical properties rather than implementation details. So that is one thing that we have to work with. Then SEP, it should control the manipulation of the representation of data so that malfunctioning can be avoided. Okay, so that representation will be SEP. Okay, so if you give the push and pop, okay, so that itself gives meaning. Okay, if you go in implementation details, okay, so that will be more what we'll say will ambiguity will be added. Okay, it is modifiable. It should make it relatively easy to modify the representation and reusable. Okay, the data structure should be such that it should be reusable. Okay, so the same stack you can reuse in another approach also. Okay, so that is ADT. Okay, and these are some examples of ADT. So I hope the concept of ADT is clear. Okay, we are separating we are separately going to look for ADT for your array. Okay, already we have seen one abstract representation of integer in last lecture. Yes, because slide la bagitla कारण axioms and all the things. Where it is, yes, this is an abstract. This right hand side is abstract representation of this. Okay, so this is something like 0, if 0, these are my functions. So how to implement it depends on backend. Okay, so we are not interested in that. Okay, so we are only represent that in abstract way. Getting? Okay,
Yes, sir.
so, okay, so in tomorrow's lecture we'll just finish up this abstract concept already we have finished. We are not going to look array now. Tomorrow's lecture we are going to focus on the analysis of the algorithm. Okay, so that is very, very important lecture. Okay, so don't miss that lecture. Okay, so we'll see how to calculate the time complexity and space complexity in practical approach, not only theoretical. We'll see in practically how we are going to work with that. Okay,
सर हे तुम्ही आतापर्यंत इंट्रो देत होते का?
नाही, सिलेबसचा पार्ट आहे
सर. टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी वगैरे तर
नाही, मला नाही कळलं काय म्हणतेस तू.
ना तुम्ही ॲरे नाही म्हटलं म्हणून विचारलं मी.
अरेच काय म्हणलं मी परत?
तुम्ही म्हटलं ना की ॲरे नाही घेणार आहे वगैरे.
नाही 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 तसं नाही म्हणलं, थांब तुला 2 मिनिटं, मी तर सिलेबस दाखवतो एकच मिनिटं. किती लेक्चर आहे पुढचं? आहे ना 5 मिनिटं आपल्याला?
येस सर.
आहे
Yes, sir, आहे 5 मिनिट.
Okay, so now in this unit, what I told, okay, so we have seen types of data structure, okay, linear, non-linear, static, dynamic, and more also we have seen, because that is inclusive, okay, everything is not given. We have seen the characteristics of algorithm, okay, आता आपल्याला ADT हित आहे या ठिकाणी आहे, म्हणजे array memory representation, array data type. Okay, तर आपण पहिलं काय करणार आहे, we are going to finish up this first analysis of algorithm in tomorrow's lecture. Afterward we'll focus this. आणि थोडं डिटेल आहे, त्यालाही एक लेक्चर लागेल. ओके, त्यामुळे म्हटलं की उद्या नाही घेणार ते. ठीक आहे,
ठीक आहे.
ओके, नेक्स्ट. ओके, सो फर्स्ट 4 लेक्चर we have to finish, first 4 and half we have to finish this part, and next 4 lecture will focus on this hashing, okay, because this is new to you. Okay, but this point is very important and this is something difficult in this unit to clearly understand. Okay, so we'll see that tomorrow.
सर आणि क्लासरूम वेगळा बनवा ना सर डेटा स्ट्रक्चर अल्गोरिथमचा.
हो हो बनवतो ना, आपला आहे तो आधीचा वापरायचा का?
नको सर, त्याच्यात ऑलरेडी खूप भरलेलं आहे.
ओके, डेटा जास्त. ठीक आहे, आय विल क्रिएट दॅट. ठीक आहे, एकच मिनिट मी अटेंडन्स घेतो फक्त. 2 6 7